welcome to this video. Today's video is going to be a summary of my third year of university. If you're new, my name is Anna. I'm a psychology student. I was about to say third year, but I haven't really started fourth year yet, so I guess it still kind of applies. Completed my third year of university. I have 2 more to go. I'm doing a 5-year master course. I don't have to write a dissertation for the bachelor's degree. I just write a dissertation for the master's degree, and then I get a master's degree in psychology. I've got my iced coffee because it's really hot. This video is going to be split into first semester and second. At the end, just kind of some reflections and thoughts, kind of how I found this year. Like, it all just seems like a blur when I look back. It's because of online learning. It's a shame really, because I specifically very vividly remember first year of uni and a bit of the second year, and then the rest is kind of a blur. First semester. First I'll talk about the classes I had. I had the psychology of personality. I did enjoy this lecture. Personality is really interesting to me, so that was definitely something interesting in my third year of uni, and I think it led me to discover the psychologist Viktor Frankl, and I have his book. I haven't read it yet. I got it not that long ago, and I wanted to read it. I was like, I'm going to read it as soon as it gets here, but I haven't read it yet, so I'm very excited to read this book to learn about him and his experience. So when I do read this book, I will definitely talk about it. I also had psychiatry, and this was only for a little bit. It was just kind of learning about the profession, which I found interesting, but it was kind of mostly about the profession. I also had neuropsychology, and yes, it's all coming back to me now. Neuropsychology was definitely something I was very interested in, and I'm really happy that I got to learn about it. There was just too much at times, and I definitely don't have the brains for it. I also had Introduction to Education, which there were problems with this one. Introduction to Educational Psychology, it was just an introduction really, and the first couple lectures didn't really interest me. I'm glad I had this lecture, because it has interested me, and it was like a little glimpse of what is to come. Then I had Introduction to Organizational and Business Psychology, I believe. I don't remember the proper name for it, but it was very much to do with managing a team. It definitely applied to like real life examples, and if you're not interested in psychology but more other areas, then this was great for you. It wasn't all just like theories in psychology, it was like, how does this look in the real world? I also had psychometric. This is just research methods, but like stats advanced. Honestly, I didn't really pay attention a lot. I don't know what was going on most of the time. It was tough, okay? It's one of the toughest things you go through as a psychology student. Then I also had student project and a research project. The student project was only for that half semester, but the research project was for the whole year. So that was first semester. In general, looking at the subjects, it wasn't that bad. There were definitely positives and negatives, and I don't really remember much, if I'm being honest. I do remember lectures and stuff, but all of it, I spent it here, and it just seems so blurry now. Now we go on to the second semester, which was the summer semester, which I've just finished. The amount of classes I had, hours of teaching I've had, was really light. I think it was the least out of all the semesters, honestly. I definitely had more time, it feels like, maybe. So here I had psychopathology, which I was so excited for, just because this was one of my favourite topics in A-level psychology, and I was looking forward to it the whole 2.5 years here. Happy that I finally got to learn it again. However, do not compare university to A-levels. It cannot be compared. It's so different. We had the DSM criteria for all the disorders that we learn, and it was very much based off the DSM-5 and the ICD-10, because they don't use the DSM-5 here. There was a lot though. Honestly, the amount of knowledge really scared me, because I definitely don't remember everything. I probably remember a small amount. I'm worried for like future Anna. I forgot to mention the intelligence scales that I had in first semester, MMPI. So here I had intelligence scales. So here the intelligence scales class was split into 2. One half of it was about Raven, and the other half was about, I don't know how to say the scale, but it's David. His surname begins with a W. That was interesting to learn. I've seen it in practice, and I've seen it in theory, and I prefer the practice, because you learn all these things, and most of it you don't need to know in that much detail. I guess I understand why it was in so much detail, but I had work experience, and I got to come into contact with the Raven test, and I did not need to know half the things that I learned. So I feel like I've noticed that in Poland, they really focus on the content and the theory, and you do not need to know that much theory. I had that student project, which we'll talk about in a moment. I had a stats lab. The stats lab, it was okay. I was expecting worse from it. I just had problems with the stats program. I wasn't using Statistica. I don't know what it's called. I was using Jamovi, and I felt like that put me at a disadvantage with learning the process that I was seeing. That's because of online learning. I would have been able to use the proper statistical program if it wasn't for online learning. I was worried for the exam because we had to work in pairs, but I was working by myself and I didn't mind it. I also had basics of psychological help, which is just kind of what is psychological help, like an introduction kind of to it. It was interesting at times. It kind of was everything at once, so that was great. And then the last thing was an optional lecture, which again, this was a bit of a downside because at my uni they give you optional lectures, and most of the time you have a choice between a couple lectures that you can choose. But this year we didn't have a choice. Everyone had to do this optional lecture, and that was gender differences. It turns out I did actually find some parts of this interesting. I just didn't think I would because I'm not particularly interested in gender differences, but it covered a wide range of things. I just wish that we got to have a choice of what we wanted to do, so that's the downside. And that would be all the classes I had. The student project, I did not have good luck picking this one. It was on cognitive psychology, and I didn't want to do cognitive psychology, but sometimes you do things you don't want to. And just the way that my group was organized was terrible. The group chat is filled with complaints, made it bearable to get through this class. I don't really know what to say now. I'm just glad it's over. But the way that like so many of the classes seemed like a waste of time, so that just wasn't fun. But we got through it. The exam was difficult because you had to write a research paper, and I have a video of the whole process so you can find out and see for yourself. My fault though. It is my fault that I left it so late, but I wrote the research paper over the weekend. I learnt my lesson not to do that next time. Sometimes you plan ahead, but when it's exam season, there is so much going on and you still run out of time. Yeah, that would be the summary of all the classes that I had. I don't know how I would say that this year has been. At times I'm grateful for online learning, at times it was difficult and there were unfair situations, like with the basics of education or intro to education exam. Some people didn't send in their exam in time and they got punished for it by having to retake this class next year, which I think is just a big extreme, and the situation that we're in is extreme, and I feel like the rules should have been adjusted to that and they weren't. And I have so many thoughts on online learning, especially in my university. There have been so many moments where I thought to myself, if you're a psychology professor, you should be considerate of your students, and there were so many who weren't. I know life isn't perfect and you can't have good things all the time, but I'm just shocked that the way that some professors reacted, the way that some staff reacted and set time limits for exams, and if someone goes over, that being a problem, or if your Wi-Fi isn't the best, it doesn't matter. You still get punished by, well, punished. Like if you mess up your exam because of Wi-Fi, it doesn't matter. You still have to retake or you fail if the Wi-Fi situation is out of your control and it's not fair. So yeah, that has definitely been a downside of everything. There have been good people and I'm surprised. I've been surprised by some professors, like some who said it's okay to go over the time limit. The little miracle of one of the classes that I had, I forgot the name now, in the first semester, I didn't pass, and then I had the retake and I still didn't pass, but the professor was so kind and sweet. She gave me a pass anyway, so that was a little miracle, and I'm so thankful for her and for people like her of being considerate. How I found in general this year, I can't believe I completed first year of university. I can't believe I completed first, second and third year of university. I just can't believe it's already more than halfway through. I am so tired and this coffee isn't helping. I've gotten used to it. I definitely missed a lot of things in the winter semester just because winter you're you're like cut off from the outside world anyway because it's so cold, and there's nothing to do outside. But with like not being able to go to cafes, that was a little bit upsetting at times, just because I was so tired of this environment, of this place and my desk, and I needed a break and I couldn't escape it. That's what it felt like. This second semester I also couldn't go to cafes, but just I always feel like the summer semester is a bit more happier because it gets to a point in the winter semester where it's just like, okay, Christmas and then what, and then exams, and it's like, also this past year I do think it has been better than maybe second year, but I don't really know, it could have been just the same. However, mentally I've adjusted to online learning. It was difficult at times, especially towards the end of each semester. I was just drained mentally, and I struggled with this in my first year, problems with motivation, and towards the end of my second semester I was going through a similar thing where I didn't have the motivation to do anything. Like, it's easy to just say go and do something, sit by your desk and get working, but some days that was hard and I would just sit on the floor. The floor's quite comfortable. Maybe I should study on my floor more often, but I would just sit and not do anything, and it would just take a lot for me to get on with work at times, which is completely fine. It just made things difficult. Kind of a personal thing, but past year's been a little bit difficult when it comes to just being where I am. This year I've definitely seen some similarities with first year Anna in some things, and I wish I wasn't like that anymore, but I can't help it. The situation that I am in personally right now is not good for me, and my environment is not good for me, and I don't know how to word this because I don't want to talk about it, but it has been a huge part of this year, and it has definitely affected me, and it's kind of to do with this move. And I feel like there's some things I can't get past just because of the environment I'm in. I did not imagine my 3 years that I've been here being the way they are. I probably said that in my first year video, but I did not imagine third year being the way it was, any of it. I didn't think I would still be here, like this room 2 years ago. I thought I'd be in a different place by now. Things happened, and emotionally I'm really tired of certain things, and there are good days and there are bad days, and I feel like the more time I spent at home, the worse it has been. First year, this wasn't really a problem because I wasn't home much at all. But being here a year and a half, it has gotten worse. Some days something happens and I react very emotionally to things, and I'm sensitive and I dwell on things. So it's not just like I can ignore it and move on. I can't. I dwell on it a lot, and I think, why is this happening? And it's just been difficult, and I'm really hoping that something changes. I cannot imagine another semester online in this room, and if that happens, I worry that that's going to happen. I'm not going to think about it though, because I really hope it doesn't happen. I don't think I can mentally, emotionally take another semester being here, so I'm just hoping something happens and I can start to feel normal, because I know life hasn't felt normal anyway because what's going on in the world. Since moving here, I haven't felt normal, and I need that normal life. Like, I did feel normal at times. I do remember mentioning that, life felt a bit more normal, but from the perspective of what has happened over the last couple of months, none of it is normal. And dealing with like online uni itself was hard, but then dealing with this personal thing for so long now is just been harder. And I don't really know why I said all that. I just trying to be honest, because I'm not the same person I was in first year of uni or second year of uni. I have felt myself going back to being that person over the past year with some things, and I just don't want to be that person. I want to grow and be more positive. And okay, enough blabbing because I'm talking nonsense. I just wanted to say, if you are going through something, know you're not alone, and that things will change. I hope to anyone watching this going through a difficult situation, or even the same situation as me but you don't know it, I just hope that things change for you for the better. And I want to say things get better, but honestly it's hard to believe when I've been thinking that for so long, and it's been 3 years and it just doesn't feel like things have gotten better. And I'm going to stop talking because I'm going to get emotional thinking about that number, so we're going to end the video here. Thank you for watching. If you have any more video requests you would like to see, then let me know. I will do a video in depth talking about 3 years of uni. I'll talk nonsense there probably too, but yeah, if there's anything you would like to know in more detail about studying psychology, I kind of just talked about my experience and what it's like at my university, so I could do a video talking about other things if you're interested. So thank you for watching.